Okay? Now, many of you have a faith background. What's interesting is in the faith community, even they have a misunderstanding of marriage. Okay? They almost have a secular understanding of marriage. It's really funny. Because in the garden, you're all familiar with the story. But oftentimes people read that story as if God stopped creating when he created woman. Now, woman is amazing, and she's unfathomable, okay? And she's magnificent, majestic in all of her beauty and wisdom. But she's not the final creature. The final creation in garden was marriage, where God took the man, raw material A, took Eve, raw material B, put himself in it, and created a Trinity on earth as it is in heaven. A three-faced creature that serves and loves one another and becomes one and can multiply life. Now that'll preach. Okay, so, but that's what's really happening is our spiritual connectedness. So how do we actually do that? Now, you may not have a whole lot of faith background in AA, in recovery, they have a kind of a principle way of looking at things. And, they say there's 3 times to go to meeting. When you want to go to meeting, when you don't want to go to meeting, and 8 o'clock. And they move the addictive personality from emotions over intellect to intellect over emotions. They become principle-based instead of emotion-based. Just by getting themselves in that chair for 90 meetings, 90 days, they become principle-based in one area, one very small area of life, and then they can actually start showing up at work on time and translate it into other things. Okay? So regardless of your faith background, it doesn't really matter if you had any faith. I have one guy, I was in Texas for a while, now I'm in Colorado Springs, and I'm so glad I'm in Colorado Springs, but I'll never forget him. He was about 6'3" or 4", and he's like, Doug, the God thing. I go, listen, I'm not talking about you coming to any kind of faith. That's not my issue. You're a sex addict, you're paying me a lot of money to help you, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to pray every day and ask God to keep you clean. Well, I can do that. Good. So he started doing that. About 2, 3, 4 weeks later, he's like, he says, I still don't know about that God thing, but that prayer thing really works. Okay? And he would tell me story after story after story about him praying and getting some kind of answer. Imagine that. So we're just going to rotate back and forth, guys first, girls second, kind of get back and forth like that, kind of equal opportunity to go first. All right? So now if you're not with your significant other or spouse, you can do this on your own, or if you got a friend you want to do this with, fine. But either way, write down the tools. Because if you're not married, you want someone who can do all these tools before you do marry. Okay? You get your pens out, because the next half hour you're going to be writing. Okay? You see, I don't have a PowerPoint. That's because I'm using your pen. Your pen is my PowerPoint. Okay? So the first one is going to be pray. So what I want you to do, and we're going to literally do this. We're not going to watch me talk. We're going to literally do this. Okay? Because I can tell you're in a frame of listening. Now we're going from student to actually interacting. We're colleagues. Okay? So guys, what I want you to do is I want you to pray out loud with your spouse. And then just for about 30 seconds or maybe a whole minute if you're real spiritual, okay? And then ladies, I want you to pray. Now, if your spouse won't pray, just raise your hand so we know who they are. Because if you're unwilling to try new things, you can't get neuroplastic activity to move. Now, if you try a new thing, neuroplasticity will start helping you. See what you learned today? Now it's called application. Love it. Okay, so go ahead and pray. Go ahead. It's okay. Okay? But if you actually do these things, you actually get results. And it's so much cheaper than therapy. It may cost a lot to talk to me. This is free, okay? So that you can actually do this at home. What's really beautiful is principles can be transferable. You can teach your friends, you can teach your neighbors, you can teach people you care about in your spiritual community, and they can have the same results as well. Okay, now this one's a little challenging because we all know the story at the beginning, but then there was like that chapter 3 problem where they ate the apple. That was a bummer in the whole story. Like from there on, the story just kind of took a left for quite a while. Okay, and so but what happens is we all have kind of a disposition to make mistakes. Shall we say it that way? How many of you are married to someone who makes mistakes? How many of you are that person? Yeah. Okay. Now, what's really funny is the way that we deal with it, because some people, the way they deal with mistakes is they don't talk about it. They go down the dysfunctional, don't talk, don't feel, don't trust rules. Okay? Or they stuff it. Or the worst is, we can talk about your mistakes, but we never talk about my mistakes, because your mistakes are really bigger. Right? And so what happens is it becomes this unauthentic dishonesty inside of a marriage, or inside of a relationship. because we can't be authentic, because you can only be authentic if you're honest about both sides of you. If you're only honest about the good side of you, that's awesome. It's just not real. So then you'll teach your kids to be weird. No, I didn't do it. It's on camera. I saw you did it. Something's wrong with that camera. Right? And especially if people with anorexia, they have real hard times being wrong because there's the good box, bad box, or an object relationship with self. Okay? And so they have a difficult being flawed and loved. They're flawed or loved. Okay? But we're all flawed and loved because we're flawed. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. And that makes you healthy. Okay, good. So, we all make mistakes in marriage. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of two, kind of small to medium size, nothing really super big, okay? Because I want someone crying on the floor, okay? Mess up the whole day. All right, but what I want you to do is a small or medium, kind of just mistakes that you make. These could be attitudes. These could be beliefs. These could be actual behaviors. These could be things you consistently forget to grow up in. Whatever it is. Just think for about another 30 seconds. Because part of us having spiritual connectedness is having authenticness. And what I'm finding is that some people have difficulties admitting that they're wrong, admitting that they're flawed, to the person who knows they're flawed. Like we just know. How many of you know your spouse is flawed? Right. It's not like a secret. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell the kids. Okay, I think they kind of know. Okay? And it's good for them to know because then they can be flawed and loved. And when they accept that they're flawed and loved, they can be honest about when they make mistakes. Okay? All right, so who was first last time? Guys. So girls, you're up first. Ladies, so here's what I want you to do. Now this is going to take eye contact. Everyone say eye contact. That means you're looking at each other, not shoes, not knees, not lights, not rugs, each other's eyes. Okay, so ladies, you're going to look into your husband's eyes. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to say, I'd like you to forgive me for ... Now, guys and ladies, you have two responses. I forgive you, or I need more time. That's it, not tell me more. Dig deeper, buddy. Not sure I quite get what you're saying, right? So none of that. Just I forgive you, or I need more time. So then you'll do your two, ladies, and then when you're done with your two, the guys will do their two. Okay? Stop looking at me and look at each other now. Okay? And if your spouse isn't here, you can do this when you go home. I'm sure they'll be surprised. Okay?